Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cheat Code Jiu-Jitsu. Jeff here again. We're working our half guard top game. Last time we were working on trying to avoid the lockdown position entirely. Unfortunately, there's going to be times when you are playing half guard on top. You've got somebody underneath you who just happens to be really good at pulling people into lockdown, and whether you want to or not, you're going to have to deal with it. And if you don't know how to get out of lockdown, if you guys have actually watched my entire lockdown deep dive or even part of it, you know there's a whole lot of bad things that are going to be coming your way, so it's imperative to get out of there quick. So our next few videos, we're going to start working through some escapes from the lockdown position specifically, some guard passes, and also some things that may not necessarily be guard passes that'll get you entirely through half guard, but at the very least will get you out of lockdown and maybe into a superior half guard position where your opponent does not have as much control over you. Today, specifically, we're going to be working on the log splitter. In the 10th Planet system, they refer to this as the buttocks compressor. I've never been a particularly huge fan of that name, and somebody showed it to me and called it the log splitter one time. I like that name better. It's my channel, so that's the name we're going to use. So log splitter is a great move. It works particularly well if you're a really big guy. It's a great way of getting out of lockdown, but even smaller guys, if you know how to sprawl correctly, works really well. It will get you not only completely out of lockdown, but you can also pass very well with it because you have a lot of control over the legs. And there's even some submissions that you can set up straight away from there. So pay attention, log splitter coming up. So I'm going to show the log splitter real quick, just so you guys know exactly what it looks like. So we're going to be in here in lockdown. I'm going to break through his clinch. I'm going to dive from here down, lock my hands, sprawl, get back, scoot around, and then I'm going to take my guard pass. That looks quick and easy, but there's a lot of technical details that are going to make it work. All right, so Amir's got his lockdown in place. He's tying my foot up. Here's the number one thing that I see go wrong. There's three main things that go wrong. Number one thing is this is not going to work super effectively if Demir still has a clinch going on. So when we're in lockdown, he wants to get some kind of control over me, underhooks, overhooks, whatever it is, but he wants to have control over my upper body. The more he has control over my upper body, when I go to dive down here, the more he's just going to be able to clamp onto me and pull me back up. Okay? The way that this move is going to work is when I'm up here at Demir's chest, when he extends his lockdown out, I'm effectively sprawling on him at that point. But because my hips are up so high, that sprawl doesn't really do anything other than break my posture. I'm taking my shoulders from his chest area, or even a little bit higher, and I'm dropping them down closer to his waist. Now when I go to sprawl, it's going to put a significant amount of pressure on his legs, and that's the action that's going to force him apart. So the most important thing first is I have to break his clinch so he doesn't have an opportunity to pull me back up. The second problem that I see is people go too slow. They start up here, we're doing our thing, whatever, I break the clinch, and then I'm going to slow walk down here, and then just kind of fiddle around or whatever, and then lazy, just kind of try to push through them. This is a move that must be done extremely fast. You have to sprawl fast, you have to sprawl hard. If I ease into this and then just kind of pick up steam a little bit, make it a little harder, a little harder, a little harder while I'm sprawling through this, all it's going to do is just give Demir an opportunity to get used to the pressure that I'm putting on him. He'll keep that lockdown clamp in place and not go anywhere. A really hard, fast sprawl done correctly with your body in the right position basically gives him the feeling that his legs are about to explode if he doesn't release the lockdown. From his position, this should be involuntary. Okay, so what I'm going to do is stretch a little bit. Okay, so I'm starting up here. When I drop down, what I'm looking for is I want to drop my shoulder essentially right here. So if he was wearing a belt on his gi, I would be wanting to drop my shoulder just barely below the line of his belt. I don't want to drop it farther than that because I'm sure you guys can see coming down this low, there's at least a potential for a guillotine choke. One of the things that's going to block that is that when I block, let's turn to the camera real quick. So go flat. So when I drop down here, I'm putting my head, my ear, and my shoulder all as flat as possible up against the side of Damir's body. If I leave space here, go ahead and choke. I get choked. But if we do that exact same thing and I leave everything really tight up against his body, there's nowhere for him to get in for the choke. Let's try it again. Nope. So he doesn't have any room to get in. I have to lay everything from here all the way up to here completely flat across his waist. The other thing that's going to keep him from sitting up into that guillotine choke is dropping my shoulders in the right spot. If I actually go farther down at his waist, Damir at that point actually has the ability to sit up. So if I go all the way down here, sit up. Okay. He sat up because my shoulder actually hit at the line of his hip. Go back down. On the other hand, I drop down, hit right about the belly button, so before the bend of the hip. Go ahead and sit up now. Okay. I have a block in place. You can't get there. So I'm going to come down his body, and drop my shoulder right here. Hands come together. You can use an S grip, gable grip, butterfly grip, whatever it is that you want to use. And they go below, basically below his butt. Now, when I say below his butt, I don't mean directly underneath, as in his butt is resting on top of my hands. I mean his glutes run from here to here, and at the bottom of his glutes on his legs, that's where I want to lock my hands together. And then when I'm ready to go, I drop my shoulder down here, I sprawl, those legs should come apart, and they should come apart quick as long as I do my sprawl fast. So real time, we're fighting a lockdown, we're doing whatever. I break free of the clinch, I dive down, I bury my shoulder right at his belly button. I've got everything from the bottom of my shoulder up to the top of my ear, married up against the side of his head. I put my grip in place, I sprawl hard and fast, legs come apart, and now I'm free of his lockdown. So now we just need to worry about passing. Now if I've got a good enough and a tight enough grip on here, it's going to be very difficult for Damir to re-guard because it's going to be very difficult for him to move his legs around. So I can start passing really easily. And if he doesn't really do a whole lot to react, I just come along, put a knee up here to keep him from turning his hips, and then I just work my way up his body and pass his academic from there. Where I see people run into problems with this is when they start locking, they come around, guy in Damir's position, his best counter at that point is to stiff arm it, which is going to create difficulty with me coming around. So let's face the camera. So I've dropped down, I'm going to do my log splitter. So I'm free, his legs are open, I'm clamping as hard as I can. I step around and he stiff arms. Now, the problem is a lot of people in this position are like, man, I'm already around to this side, I've got his hips turned a little bit, I just need to keep going up this way, but he's got those blocks in place that are keeping me from advancing. The thing that I see people miss all the time is all you gotta do is quit pushing into him and just jump over. I move right around his blocks. And the other advantage that it gets is as long as I have Damir turned with his hips facing me, so long as I'm clenched up around his legs, he's not really going to regard. But at some point, as I'm going up his body, I'm going to have to let go of the clinch. As soon as I let go of the clinch, he can move his legs again. If I'm in front of his legs, it means it's that much more likely that he's going to regard. But if I clamp, turn him this way, start advancing, let him stiff arm me, and then I jump back to the other side. Now I've got his hips facing away from me, so when I break my clinch, it's going to be that much easier for me to advance. So, lock down, I break out of the clinch, I go for my log splitter, drive back, step out, I start coming up, Damir's stiff arming, no problem. Step over to the other side, and I get my way up into side grip. So I told you guys we can go directly into at least one submission here. There's one that I do want to show you because it's one that's near and dear to my heart, and it's the Texas Cloverleaf. It's one of my favorite leg locks, and it just so happens that this log splitter pass that we're doing here happens to lead directly into a very good entry for the Texas Cloverleaf. So it's one of my favorite ways to get to it. When I get through my log splitter, I'm basically going to be in this position. So I've got both of his legs tied up, clamped together, and I'm working my way up his body. As I discussed in my half guard lockdown series, a lot of the sweeps there in the guard passes, I always want to try to come up and get at least one leg, whichever leg is going to be lower down his body, underneath of his near side leg, so that I keep his hips from turning in, so that he can't fully regard. When I'm doing this log splitter pass, when I've got his legs tied up like this, whichever direction I'm coming up his body, whether his hips are turned towards me or they're turned away from me, I want to clamp onto this and then shelf it. This is where the Texas Cloverleaf comes in. So at this point, if I've gotten this far, I'm probably going to abandon ship, at least for me, because I love the Cloverleaf. I'm not going to keep advancing up his body anymore. Instead, what I'm going to do is this far arm that is on the far side, I'll pull this back, lift, and now I'm putting his feet so that his far leg, this foot, is over top of the near side shin. Clamp, this goes back, so I'm over the far leg, back under, thumb up. My far side knee is going to come up to his waist and pinch. At the same time, I'm going to clamp this knee and pull it. Knee pinch hard, and then from there, lock, lock, grip, and twist. Texas Cloverleaf. Finishing mechanics for this are, once I have all of this locked into place, my shoulder here is dropping down on top of this top foot. All of this that is hooked up under here is twisting and pulling up. And what it's doing is it's driving the side of his shin directly up into the Achilles on this leg. Makes a real nice Achilles lock tap. That's one of my favorite ways to tap people out. So one more time on the log splitter, Demir's got me in lockdown. We're fighting. I have to break free of his clinch so that he can't pull me back up. I break the clinch, I drop down, break out. I start working my way around. Demir stiff arms. He's trying to keep me from passing. I move to the opposite side, start coming up. Shove, grip, lock, Texas Cloverleaf. Get the tap, gloat, celebrate, everything else from there. So log splitter is an excellent way to get out of the lockdown period. As I've commented, obviously if you're bigger than the other guy, it's going to work better. It's also going to work better if you're a lot taller than the other guy because you can get your hips farther down and it's easier to break the lockdown. Works very well as a pass, gets you out of half guard, and sets up one of my favorite submissions. So add that into your game, play around with that. Come back next time, we'll work on another way through lockdown. It's not necessarily going to get you out of half guard, but it'll get you to a better position. So make sure if you like this video, hit the like button, helps us out a lot. Also subscribe to the channel, make sure you turn on the notifications. You'll get notifications every time we upload a new video. See you guys next time. Thanks.